Well, James, is this one of the days when perhaps you look at the opposition and you say, well played, you were outstanding?
Well, I think there's where we're currently at, there's a massive gulf between us and the top sides from what I've seen with North Ferriby and AFC Fylde. Both different sides, but both have qualities to play their way of football. And what was, although they were a good side today, we were particularly poor, gave them the ball too often, and showed some really poor defending at times. So AFC Fylde are a good side, but we were poor today.
You probably couldn't afford to play a team like Fylde, given the injuries you've got. I know you're not going to look to make excuses, but Danny Morton, Lewis Montrose, even the goalkeeper in Orms, a lot of players missing today, and probably a game too far without those players. Yeah,
I felt that the 3 or 4 injuries we had going into the Hensford game affected us more than I expected. And then we got one back, and then we lost a couple more. But I suppose when I reflect back to that nice little run we had, we had a rock-solid midfield of Carl Ledsham, Lewis Montrose, and then we had a right-sided player like Jamie Maynor who could give you a little bit of width and also had a great set play, and John Marsden. And now, the midfield we have at the moment, unfortunately, doesn't resemble anything like their athleticism and their energy levels. And I think that showed today in terms of the personnel we put out there. Although I thought Brandon did quite well, and Ryan filled some holes and got some blocks in and did what Ryan does. But I'm not going to be too harsh on them two lads. They're coming in and asked to do perhaps some familiar roles within the team structure, and there was other performances that I will scrutinise a lot more than theirs.
Defensively, looked frail at times today, but again, as I say, a reorganised back four. But you were still very much in it at half-time, ironically, without really doing too much.
Yeah, some people make simplistic comments about the game. I'll judge the game in a lot more detail. And what was really disappointing for me for a back four that had, apart from Marcus, had a lot of experience, is that we didn't recognise what they were doing. So, for example, the first corner gets whipped in front of our zones. I'd expect my zonal players, which were Gareth Roberts and Paul Connolly, to adjust position. They seemed to get their sort of number 10 down the gap, down Sean O'Hanlon's side, and Ryan Ellison was having to chase him. They did it 2-3 times, and then I'm having to get out of my dugout and say to Paul Connolly, go and play on the right, because I know you'll feel that home. And that's really disappointing for me, because there's a lot of young players out there, a lot of inexperienced players who are trying to go about their business, and what they need is a very good steady heads behind them, filling in, talking to them, doing jobs well. And unfortunately we didn't really have that today, because when I look at the goals beyond that, a fullback gets done on his inside for an easy finish, the centre halves are nowhere to be seen to even come out and put pressure on the ball. Third one, centre half who's backheading it but at an angle. So I just got to look at the first 3 goals and say, well, where's the experience that comes from that sort of many games? But like I said, people are going to make sweeping statements about this team, but you mentioned the goalkeeper. This season the team's lost Danny Hurst and Ian Ormson, Rengan sick today, and then you look at the back four. We've lost 2 at least of that back four over the last 3 or 4 games. So we were without Danny Morton and Smalley today, and then the midfield, the whole defensive midfield line is rebuilt. Up front, I know we've got goals, but we haven't got players who are fully fit, purposeful for 90 minutes. So that's something that maybe because they've not played a lot of football this year. But like when you look at Ferriby, AFC Fylde, they've got energy, they've got athleticism, they're technically good, they're tactically good, they know what they've been playing with each other for a long while. So we're a long way from being a team. Today we didn't look a very good team, and nobody really shone as well as they perhaps could have.
I know you well, and I know you're going to go home tonight. You'll be disappointed because you've been beaten 4-0 at home. But when you reflect more widely, perhaps you look back and think, OK, we've had 2 defeats the last 2 games, but out of 9, it's been an incredible run prior to that, and you still reflect and take great credit for what you've achieved so far.
No, because I'll be getting judged on this weekend's results. You know, and I have to say I'm really disappointed with some of the scathing comments from behind me about players who've have only been here 2 minutes, haven't had a training session to prepare for this game. Some scathing comments, and I think we have to realise we're in a division where there's a lot of teams who are putting more money into the team, have been together longer, have been building, have been growing. And put all the fabric and footballing structures in place to make sure that first team is performing at its best. So in that regard, North Ferriby and AFC Fylde are miles ahead of us. And when they're able to put out their strongest sides against our makeshift team, then we are going to struggle. But I'll go back to the Hensford game. I don't think we played particularly well at Hensford. So what we're seeing is how the team has quickly become disjointed and looks a little bit fragile. Like I said, but people are going to judge me on the team's performances. They're going to judge me on these players, and you know that's what people do. But like I said, in some ways, I wish the season was over now and I could start rebuilding and bring the players in I want to bring in, the players I know can do the business for this club, and start having a pre-season and get a team that plays my way and knows what I'm looking for and learns and adapts and is flexible and organised and flows up and down the pitch in both phases of play.
It's interesting to hear. Do you then look at these remaining 5 games, now that people maybe will stop talking about playoffs, do you maybe look at these remaining 5 games as an opportunity to assess some of these other players, these fringe players, or maybe players that are there or thereabouts in the team at the moment?
No, because those players got to earn that right. You know, if you haven't done anything in the last 6 months, 7 months, then you don't deserve to play. You know, more of my work's done away from the training ground now. I'm, you know, talking to players and assessing who could add value to the team. But you know, that's the way I feel at this moment. But when I say I wish the season was over, but it's not. And I know that we've got 5 big games coming up. I've got a target in mind of where I want us to finish, points wise, and in terms of results. And I think it's really important. You know, whether it was a compliment or a backhanded compliment at Northwich, people said that we'll beat the teams we're expected to beat.
Right.
Which I thought was a backhanded compliment. But if we can put out a fairly solid side, get some players back, then we should be, on paper, be able to beat the next 5. But what we have to learn from today, I think, as a club, we have to take a step back and think, although we're Stockport County, we've got a great stadium, great tradition, great history, we are in a division with teams that are well constructed and well equipped to get out of this division. And what we have to do is keep building, keep adding, and never lose sight of the fact that we need to keep improving. So over the next 5 games, I'll be looking more closely at the players I think will be staying and see if they can give us something in the next 5 games. But then all the time I'm looking for the players that can come in and add to us, because ultimately when we kick off next season, we'll be able to judge Jim Gannon's team.
I think, ironically, that's maybe something that people don't see. We talk about you being a part-time manager. It's very much not a part-time role for you at the minute, as I know how hard you're working and how many games you're watching as well.
It's been extremely tiring for me, the last 4 weeks in particular. You know, I've got, believe it or not, 2 other jobs that I've got to do during the day. I've got a young family. But, you know, I dedicate a lot of hours, a lot of thought. Got to be very efficient. We've watched a lot of games. We talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're constantly looking to improve the side, but every manager has. But what we have to overcome is the fact that we have to build a team here. We can't have massive overhauls every year and chuck people out. We have to take what good is here and see through that. What's good here, keep it and add to it. Like I said, that we're a work in progress, and I think as fans we've seen a glimpse of when we're well constructed and if you like only making the odd change here and there when necessary, and having a couple of different options on the bench to change us tactically, you can see what results we can get. What we have to do now is add to that and get better players in that can bring us to the next level, because the next level for us has to be above our current position. It has to be the playoffs. It has to be challenging week in, week out, and knowing that we're coming into these games with a team and a squad that's capable of beating these teams and getting us right to the top of this division.
Well said. Thank you, James.
Welcome.